Hi there, I'm Ed,
And I'm Robin.
and we're coming to you today from Napton Music Notes here in Janesville, Wisconsin. And National Guitar Month here is in April, so we're doing a series of videos to talk about some of the things to think about when you're guitar shopping, or if you already own a guitar, how to care for and use it properly, I guess is, yeah. So one of the things that's important in most guitar players is their string selection. And as you can see, if you look, we have a wide variety of strings. Now, in my experience, a lot of guitar players, especially ones who played for a couple of years or several years, find a string that they like and they stick with it.
It's a personal preference.
Yeah. So what are some of the differences, Robin, in guitar strings?
Well, first off, you have different strings for your acoustic and electrics. Acoustic strings are typically made out of a bronze, whereas your electric strings are typically a nickel coated. Now the nickel is so that it can react with the pickups in the electric guitar so that it can make sound.
Mm-hmm.
But you could really have a variety of different metals on your acoustic strings because the sound is made acoustically.
Yes. So, and of course, I don't know how well you can see this, but a lot of these packages have numbers on them, and the numbers are referring to the gauge. In other words, the thickness of those strings, and then the range of the strings gauge thickness from the thinnest to the thickest. Like, and I'm just pointing next to myself. I've got a 1046 here, and then you go all the way to like an 1152. That's the thinnest. It's millimeters of thickness.
Yeah.
And
So the smallest number is your thinnest string. The smaller the number, the thinner the string. So a 9, for example, would be a .009 millimeter gauge.
Right. And as you can see, there are obviously different brands. Now, one of the other innovations over the last few years has been what's called the coated string. So strings, by their nature being metal with your fingers, eventually the oils and stuff in your skin will break down the chemical composition of the strings, making them sound dull and lifeless.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's why you need to change strings occasionally.
It's every few months, depending on how often you play.
And to sort of combat that thing, some of the companies have come out with what they call a coated string. So they put this very microscopic,
very
thin little coating that is supposed to give your strings longer life. Some people like that coating, some people don't, because it feels a little bit slicker. Like I said, I want to sum this up by saying, most guitar players find a guitar string that works for them, that they like the sound of, that they like the feel of, and they stick with it for a long time. One of the advantages, luckily, in our store is that if you are a customer that comes here frequently, we keep a record of what it is you buy, and if you're not quite sure what string you like, we will recommend something. You will go home and you will try it, and the next time you come in, if you say, I really love those, we'd be like, but I don't remember what they were, we're like, we remember for you. And conversely, if there was something you didn't like, we know what it was you didn't like, and we can offer you some other ideas. So that's what we're here for, is to help you on your journey in music.
Exactly.
Yeah. Any other things you can think of, Robin? Pretty packages?
The beautiful display of packages. Also the difference between 12-string and classical.
Oh, yes. So,
Classical strings are typically made of a nylon, so those are very different, and that has to do with the way that the classical guitars are built.
yeah.
They're not made to withhold the tension of the steel strings. So they use a nylon string, and then we also have 12-string strings, it's got 12 strings. Those are also steel. However, you have a much wider variety of gauges in there.
Right. Yeah. And I think when you I know that Robin is going to do some upcoming videos about repair, and she'll talk maybe somewhat about the differences in how quite often classical guitars with the nylon strings are strung differently than your electric or acoustic generallys that will have a little ball on the end as opposed to something you have to tie.
Exactly.
So that's a little bit more of a learned art. So hopefully you'll be able to see that video soon. Thanks for tuning in today. Have a good day.